English with deck. So recently there was a public holiday, national holiday, 3-day weekend. There's a slight difference in the nuance of the national and public holiday, I guess, but basically they all mean a holiday which most people will end up taking off at the same time. Of course, in England we also call them bank holidays as well. And they're essentially all the same thing. Maybe it's cremation. It's not a cremation. Oh my gosh. Commemoration. Commemoration. Maybe it is a commemoration of some event or death of some important person in the past or something significant in that country's history, or it could just be a time of the year which is you know maybe in the past was quite a spiritually significant holiday, like for example the beginning of the spring or the beginning of winter, whereas now it's more of a less religious but more just of a nationally accepted holiday. There's a whole host of reasons that these holidays exist, and it really does depend on the country and even in some cases the state or county where you are living. Now, you know, last weekend there was a brilliant 3-day weekend. Wait, sorry, last weekend, not last weekend at all. This weekend is a 3-day weekend. Oh, I have been working too much today. Yes, this weekend is currently a 3-day weekend. Friday was a national holiday. Now, not all people get the day off. It A depends on your industry, you know. B depends on your company. Um, so, for example, if you are in, as the same as every country, as far as I'm aware, if you're in sort of healthcare or the service industry, good chance you'll be working. Or if your company decides just to not take it off for whatever reason, which is quite common in Japan, for example, depending on the industry, um, you might not get it off either. But usually, for example, schools will be closed. Various companies will just stop operating for that day. And yes, these are usually positioned as an additional day to the weekend. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Of course, you sometimes get the odd one thrown in there during the week if it's for maybe a commemorate that word again commemorative reason, or it has a specific date every year. However, usually they would be on the either end of the weekend. Now, just a fun bit of info here. Coming from England, we have also I thought a fair decent number of bank holidays, as we call them. And just off a really quick bit of research, um, England and Wales has a as a standard number of public and bank holidays around 8 days. Okay, so that's 8 days. Scotland actually has 9. Northern Ireland has 10. Okay. And also, if the bank holiday, because of the date, which is chosen by a date more so, if the bank holiday falls on the weekend, a substitute weekday becomes a bank holiday, usually the following Monday. So yeah. Now that's a pretty standard way of doing things. However, what's interesting is that in Japan, they have a very large number. They have about 16 annually, actually. And of course, you've got other ones on top of this for your personal life or maybe your company, but around 16 annually in Japan. The reason they have quite a large number compared to other countries is simply because Japan, as you I'm sure are aware, has an insane work culture. Therefore, I don't know the full ins and outs of it. I will not lie to you. I am sure there is a little more to it than this, but basically, in a nutshell, the government created all these extra holiday days to force the workers to take a holiday, a day off. And when I say that, I mean force the companies to basically give the workers a holiday. Um, so yes, basically forced rest for worked employees. Maybe the employer himself was reluctant to take the paid leave. So the government used the national holidays to mandate rest and will encourage a better work-life balance. Also, for example, I think it would be called like bridging the holidays, maybe. So any day, apparently, any working day falling between two public holidays becomes a holiday itself, creating longer breaks. So yes, and there's also, like I did mention, historical and various imperial events going on. But what's interesting is that many companies that have roughly the same or roughly a very similar amount of these public holidays. However, Japan being such a workaholic country, or stereotypically workaholic country, which is changing, I will say, very gradually. The tides are changing, which is brilliant, and they have maybe not the highest, but definitely one of the highest number in the world. And I'd absolutely love to hear about your personal experiences, whether it's in Japan, whether it's in Mexico, whether it's in France, wherever it is. How many public holidays do you guys have? Do you have to take them? Do you have a choice? Do you get to take them? It'd be great to share and, sort of let other people know and sort of, spread the word. Yeah. Okay, well, look, that's about all we have time for today. But just before I go, I would like to add, absolutely do take a look at the profile linked in my website. And if you are new to using the Preply service, feel free just to use the second link, which will give you a 30% discount on your first trial. If you go down that route, you will need to manually search for my profile name, which is also below that link. Of course, feel free to send me an email, again linked on my website, and you can ask any questions or discuss scheduling before even making accounts, or messaging me through Preply. Absolutely happy to do that. And yes, of course, do take a look at the Ko-fi page as well if you have time. Okay, well, look, that's like I said. Sorry for the ramble, and I hope you guys have a fantastic morning, a great afternoon, and a wonderful evening. Okay, guys, see you in the next one. Bye for now.